Petra, welcome to the podcast.
It's been a
Thank you
while.
for having us.
It's I just realized whenever doing a podcast with more than one person, we have to be very succinct. I must speak to Petra first or Matt first, otherwise there's so much cross talking. And Matt, you just did magnificently then, staying silent.
I've had a few goes. So last time I was on your podcast, I actually was driving it. Remember, interviewing you. That was a good. Good
I
run.
do, yeah. Thankfully, nobody wrote in and said, "Could Matt please continue
Not a
with my
chance,
show?"
right? It's quite a skill you have there to be able to do that. I think once is enough per year, perhaps, for me.
No, it was nice to have the tables turned, and it's wonderful to have both of you on the show because obviously we're together a lot outside of the digital world. Well, saying that we meet digitally a lot, but conversations that aren't recorded, and we've decided to be looking at potentially, hopefully, once a month, coming onto the podcast and kind of riffing off a particular topic that is dear to us or is relevant to us at the time, and be able to share the conversations with everybody here listening today. And of course, today we decided to choose gratitude, and something that came to me earlier, even though I mentioned to you today, Matt, was the deeper meaning of gratitude, because I think it's something that's thrown around a lot and can be easily overlooked, and especially with our group coaching call we had yesterday on the topic of gratitude as well. I think it's inspired this podcast, and hopefully listeners will get something out of it and maybe look upon and reflect. And let's see what comes out of today. So I'm going to start. And Petra, I'm seeing your radiant, lovely face here, and we'll all speak. I won't be just picking on you. I'm sure you guys will pick on me too. But when you say the word gratitude, what comes to mind for you?
A feeling of gratitude, actually. For me, it's not a word anymore. It's just a feeling I feel in my body, and the feeling to which I turn each time I feel the less grateful, the least grateful. So whenever I'm struggling, I know I have to turn to gratitude and focus on that, and that will help me shift the whole thing. So it's so hugely important. And as you said, it's people do talk about gratitude, but I'm not sure that we really feel it and practice it the way we all could. So, and I'm not sure, are we really aware of the great gift the gratitude gives and brings to us? Because it's not just, yes, we should be grateful for the food or for the home or for the health or whatever, but being grateful actually starts a huge shift and starts energetically bringing or creating space for more things that we could be grateful for to enter our lives. And I think that's the most important thing that really lands for all people.
Yeah. But you know what comes up though, and it's like, that's easy for you to say, but I am in knee deep in shit right now, and
Yeah.
life is constantly pushing and pulling me and prodding me around, and I'm going to swear because I know this. It's like, fuck this gratitude thing. This is bollocks. I'm really
Yeah.
have bigger shit to fry, and
And I can totally relate to that. I know. I mean, all three of us can relate to that. And we've all been in really deep shit if we are talking that way. And and that's actually what taught us the importance of gratitude, right? Because that helped us get out of the shit. And it's really, really hard to be grateful in those hard moments. But if we don't take the opportunity to change the perspective and focus on things that we are grateful for we just keep on looping in this shit we are in, right? So the sooner we start giving gratitude a chance and just allowing ourselves to try to be grateful, the sooner we start getting out of the mess we are in. I would say that.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah,
What comes up
well,
for you?
I can relate to a lot of what you guys are saying. I think it's very true. Of being in this industry for the amount of time that I have, it's it can become one of those. It becomes like it's a commonality. What did you say? Longer than you've been alive?
Carry on, all good.
I don't even know what you said. No, I don't know what I was going to say. It can be just almost like a bypass. It can be like a kind of a tick box, because it becomes like, I find that a lot of the wise and tenets of wisdom and this practice and being mindful and being spiritual and all the basis of them come from a very pure and deep place, and they come from centuries ago, even thousands of years ago, some of them. And it's like, but then what we do in our mainstream personal development to spirituality is we try and create little nuggets of like adaptable bite-sized chunks that we can fit into our busy lives. And so gratitude is one of those that I find pretty all over the place. Everyone's doing it. Do a gratitude list. You're stuck. Just do a gratitude list. But it's just lip service. And so it then becomes kind of worthless. Like a lot of these practices, that people don't really immerse themselves and embody the work to a point where then they actually get the benefits from it, because at the basis of gratitude is an honoring, is a respecting the life that we have, and a letting go of this constant battle that's inside of us that we're never going to get out of as long as we're in a body. Is this is good and this is bad, right? And then we are in this place of giving everything meaning, and we're actually trying to find avoid the pain and embrace the pleasure. And so in that, we kind of manipulate and kind of push and prod and move ourselves through life and try and make the outside world this little comfort zone that's safe for us. But in essence, it's not, because we're not safe in ourselves. And so to me, gratitude diffuses that. It just takes that whole ego out of the way, that whole part of myself, the nervous system that's looking for us a threat. It's just naturally how we're designed from evolution. It just removes it. And it allows me then to move in that prefrontal cortex, where I can actually observe myself and see things from a larger vantage point and get out of that place of conflict in myself. And I always say in the workshops that then gratitude is like a magnet that aligns you to the essence of all that you are. Because in essence, we're this expanse, we're this flow, we're this wholeness. We have everything that we need, desire, or want. It's the severing of that knowing through the conflict within ourselves that resists and limits that. And so when we diffuse that, when we let go of that, then we allow the expanse of what is to emerge and inform us and inspire us to move forward in our lives. And so to me, gratitude is almost like a back door out of stuckness, right? When I'm just so stuck, then I'm like, hey, well, what about the fact that I'm alive? I was listening to your podcast with is it Jill Bolton Taylor? Is that, holy moly? And she says she went through that stroke, and then the whole left side of her brain was just gone, and then she had to rebuild it, learn to speak again, and so forth. And then she said in your podcast, she's like, I'm just grateful to be alive. I've got the best gift ever, life. And look at where life has gone since that. It's like just through the roof. She's just having these incredible experiences because she's grateful for the basis of being alive. And what a lesson, hey?
Massive. Yeah.
Yes, Guy.
I often think about it, and you know what?
How about you, Guy?
What's the question?
Guy, we want to hear you.
For me, gratitude is that you know what was coming to me as you were speaking. Then is they say all suffering comes from separation, from source, from divinity, from the divinity within ourselves, and gratitude is the connection. It's almost. I'm trying to find the right words here. It's like reinforcing the network that's between source and yourself that's already there, but you're actually by having a gratitude practice and embodying it, you're just deepening that connection to self, to source, to heart, to soul, and I think I mentioned on the call last night, but it's like it allows your heart to speak, your soul to speak through you, if you can start to come from that place. But obviously, the most difficult part of it is when life is not serving you, is not going for you. It's really hard to find even the motivation and the sense of awareness to stop and take a breath and create space in your life where you can fall into and start to feel into the heart and what you can be grateful for. And it's there was a wonderful quote I even wrote down the other day. It's like you don't create. It was around happiness, but at the end of the day, the essence of the quote is you be happiness, and then the happiness comes. And it's like if we can start, and it's not like we walk around with a permanent smile on our face, just open-hearted, grateful all the time, but it's having the sense to interrupt the old conditioned selves and start to recondition the old self to start to see the world moment by moment with a different lens. And for me, gratitude is that place to be seeing that from. And we were discussing last night, right, Petra, before the call as well, about when you could break down gratitude and there's a reflection of the past. So we could look for our past in our life and can we start to be grateful for everything that's accumulation to has led us to this point right now, which allows us to start to lean into acceptance and healing. And then from there, we can start to become more present and be more grateful for what we have in this moment. And then from there, we can start looking into the future and start becoming grateful for the things that are yet to come. And I just think, wow, that is amazing. So for me, gratitude.
We had several epiphanies yesterday.
Right? And when you start to think how powerful that actually is, if we can start to lean in and use gratitude to heal our past or whatever things that are coming up for us, to start to allow that body to then allow us to really be present and see the gifts that are in front of us, the beauty in the other people that other people might not see. How often do you meet people and see people, or you're with someone that sees something that you didn't see in it, and you go, oh, and it opens up a whole new paradigm to you from there. And of course, once you can do that, I think that's when creation starts to come into play. And, and it's one thing that we are very big on, that's allowing us to grow, live in flow and bring this message out to more and more people, because we are so grateful for what we have and what's led us to this journey. But it's not without a practice, right? It's not without the doing of the work. It's the daily stuff that comes into it. So when I start to think about those things, that's why I get excited and talk about it and remind myself daily. So what I thought would be nice while we're on this topic then, and to open up a little bit, and I'll come back to you, Petra, for this, but and we can share, and I think, because I always remember on the podcast, I always ask somebody what's been a low point in your life that's later become a blessing. I think we could kind of riff off that slightly, and has there been a moment recently or further back where you have been in the shit, you wanted to swear, curse, and look at it, and it might have taken days, weeks, or even months to move through, but then able to look back and actually be grateful for those moments, even though it was hard to see it at the time.
So was it a question?
You want to share something? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. And that's why I can really say that I feel like I mastered gratitude, and I'll be mastering it my whole life, because every time I feel overwhelmed and that I just cannot cope with life anymore and it's just too much. And I had that moment just a few days ago, and I was crying to you because it was just too many and too much happening at the same time, and I just couldn't take it. And then I knew that if I stay in that feeling and thinking sorry for myself or angry or whatever was coming to me, because I really lost myself in that moment, that I will just postpone being in that state, and I'll create more and more situations like that, because just energetically I would be pulling the same level of experiences, same kind of experiences in my life. And then I sat with myself and I said, okay, I need to shift this, and I can do this, and let's start focusing on things that I can be grateful for. And it wasn't easy, because part of me was just, saying in the background, yeah, but you don't understand, this is just, it isn't fair, and this is just too much, and nobody understands me, how hard it is for me to be a single mom or whatever. I was juggling with too many things. And then I was just like, yeah, I can hear you, but let's just try. Let's try to focus on things that I can be grateful for. And somehow everything shifted, and somehow the moment I started focusing on gratitude, all the solutions came. And I dropped into this peacefulness, and somehow everything started falling into its place. It just started to be solved. But I had to invest energy into stopping myself running into the same circle. I allowed myself a moment to break down and cry, just to get that emotional release. And then I shifted, and everything shifted, and I'm in a completely new state now. So, and I wanted to share this because it was pretty recent, and it was an everyday stuff, nothing, huge, like a trauma or something. I was just overwhelmed, and that everybody can relate to us, that we do still have days like that, and that we still do the work daily, and we still catch ourselves in our old ways of being. But it's possible, and we can shift it in a few minutes.
I just want to ask a question before I jump to Matt,
enough time.
Petra, because you opened up a bit of a loop there, and I just want to get clear, people, what your thoughts are. Is it okay to lose your shit and not because do you think there can be a misconception? You've worked with a lot of people that it's almost like we use gratitude for avoidance of feelings, and not allow, because there's a couple of key points you said there. You actually allowed yourself to feel it, sit in it, but it wasn't weeks,
Yeah, exactly. It was just maybe half an hour. But I really allowed myself those feelings. And if I wouldn't have allowed myself that space to feel, I would just continue feeling the low vibration feelings, and I would be feeling guilty. So the old me would be feeling guilty because I'm feeling this way, because of everything that we do, and we guide so many people. We shouldn't have those kind of feelings, and we should have our shit together all the time. And I would be looping in this guilt, which I used to for years. Really, I was feeling guilty for have feelings, because I knew how things work, right? But then I learned that I'm a human, and I need to allow myself to process those feelings as well, and that I'm learning about myself something that will help me help other people. So now I allow those feelings, and I learn to love myself even in those moments when it's hard, because life will be bringing us challenges, and the more we allow ourselves to feel, the faster we move through life. We move through those situations. So I don't want to sugarcoat and say, we don't have those moments, and we have all the time everything together. I don't want to say shit so many times, but
I think you swear in more than Matt on this podcast. This is incredible. It's a first.
I'll be quiet now. You two can swear as much as you want.
I can't relate to any of that, Petra. I really have big judgments about who you are as a person to be that vulnerable and be human. No. I'm so enlightened. I never have my girlfriend say, "Fuck, you teach this shit. Why are you acting like a dickhead?" Never happens. Never. Well, it always goes back to, I think we teach what we need to learn the most, don't we? And as much as I hate to admit it, like the wisdom that I share is because I had to go through it majority of the time and heal myself from many different things. And as you're talking about this gratitude. It's such a good thing. I kind of had a gratitude moment yesterday, just feeling, as you said, Petra, a bit overwhelmed about things. And it's, as all of us I think can relate, it's been a pretty up and down reality the last 18 months, and it just keeps going back to that silver lining. Like every time I feel challenged, it come out the other end, and there's something great there. And yesterday I was just in that slump, and I was like, wait a minute. What are you doing? You want to be the victim? You want to sit in this pain? You want to keep perpetuating the pain and the drama about it? Or do you want to actually do something and be part of the solution for yourself instead of, sitting in the agony of it? We could talk about our upsets for a lifetime if we want to. And in all of that, I think there's this thing, like before I was doing this work, I was in a computer job and not happy in my soul, and using my brain a lot, and not really aware of how to open my heart too much, or feeling safe to do so, but which is an ongoing journey. But I was depressed a lot, or what you may label as depression, and I'd have very dark nights, and like to the point of being like in fetal position, laying on the ground, like full body sobbing, and just feeling like, suicidal, like the only way out is just to end this. Like, what's the fucking point? And I went through a handful of those kind of experiences, and it never failed. It was like a series of them happened over a period of like a month, like 2 or 3 happened, like boom, boom, boom. And it never failed. After that really painful night, then I wake up the next day and something amazing would happen. And it was like the second time that happened, I was like, whoa, if I would have ended it last night and not been in body anymore, I would have missed this. I would have missed this opportunity. And it was like this message that just flashed before me, and like it was embodied in me. And it's like it's a fail-safe button or something that's in me now, that when I start to spiral down, I get to that point, I'm like, wait, something good is coming. And what is that? And can you just hold on a little bit longer to wait so you can experience that? And this year, last 18 months has been a case in point, and how we at the beginning of last year, it was like all of our retreats and everything we worked so hard for the year before was just fell on his face. And then, we could have sat there and been depressed and upset and gone through as we did, didn't we, Guy? A few times. Yeah, I'd talk to each other. Guy would pull me up, then you'd pull me up, then I'd pull you up. For a short period of time. I'd pull Guy up, yeah. It's nice to work in a trio. But now look, we've got an incredible platform of online programs and courses that are supporting the retreats that are now opening up. And it's like we've come out the other end, or we're coming out the other end. I'm going to hold on to that thought that we are coming out at the end of this. That is much better than we could have ever created if we hadn't have gone through the challenge. So just got to find the gratitude in the shit. End of the day. I had to catch up. I didn't want you to take full credit.
There he is. He's swearing more than I now, so more than me. I know. But it's so true. Yeah. I mean, we had the opportunity to just be sad and upset and angry and afraid because of the whole situation, and that affected our lives and our work. But then we sat and searched for things that we can be grateful for, and how we can find a way to bring this work to more people. And actually, it's all coming back to us now, right? I mean, our retreats are sold out months ahead, and we have beautiful community, and we can just be grateful.
And we have each other.
all the adversities that we had to face to be
I mean,
here where
honestly,
we are
not to be a
today.
dick about it,
Yeah.
but like I'm really grateful to be working
And we have each
with you
other.
guys, because
And we
I
are more than
worked alone for
grateful.
so long, and it's an incredible thing to have that opportunity. And
You did strike the lottery, mate. Like,
yeah,
come
well,
on.
it's all this work I've been doing, you know? Yeah.
The ultimate form of receivership, gratitude, right? You know, it is funny. I remember it's funny how things stick out in your mind when you reflect back upon different things, and you know, when you're in pain, doesn't matter what the instigation of the pain is. Pain is pain. Fear is fear, and we tend to measure levels of trauma and things, and obviously there are things that are absolutely horrific, but as an internal being, when we're internalizing it, it all feels bloody shit. You know, I think wherever we're at. But I remember, and I think my auntie, hi Lynn, if you are listening, she does listen to my podcast now and then, so she might not even know this, but I was doing my plumbing apprenticeship, so I was 16 at the time, and it was my first year. And when I signed up to apprenticeship, it was full recession in Wales. I was on £30 a week, this youth training scheme, and to make up the money, I was working in a nightclub at night. And I remember I'd been first week at the job or whatever it was, and I'd been in a loft all day. Now I'm 6'4", and you're in this attic that had fiberglass that was all lined out, because obviously Wales gets cold and they line all the ceilings, and I had to run these pipes, and I was covered in all this flux and oil, and my hair was singed and things burning, and I was itching, and I used to get dropped off at the bottom of my village hill, and I had to walk a mile up the hill at night when I came back. And I remember coming back, and it was a Friday, and I just completed the week, and I'd gone through hell, and I'm just saying, what am I doing? I didn't go to uni, and my auntie had just arrived because she was living in Surrey, and she was there visiting us, and my mum was there. My mum and aunt were sitting there having a good old chat and a cup of tea, like on a Friday afternoon. And I wander in, just covered head to toe in this fiberglass, and she looked at me and she said, "Good day work, son." And I was like, oh, and I started complaining, and then she just blunt, like, she said, "How wonderful is this? You get to do this for the rest of your life." And she was being humorous and sarcastic, but there was a part of her saying, "Welcome to the real world. You've now left school." And it absolutely terrified me. And I remember that those words sat with me for the entire apprenticeship. And I got more and more in myself about it. But when I came out, it was actually the catalyst for me to go on a different trajectory, because it was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to do this. But I had no idea what I was going to do. And I just want to say I am so grateful for that moment in that time, even though I could have just swore at her and left her alone. I don't even know I wanted to share that, but it's powerful. It's really powerful. That'll be in my book one day if I ever get to write one. You know, and to tie up today's conversation, what are some helpful things that you do in your life to interact that, to come back to that? Because what happens if we are listening and we don't have a gratitude practice? Like, what do you suggest? What would you do? And what has helped you transition through darker periods to get there? Because it's all good once we come out the other side and we can look back and see the gifts in the difficulties and how we've grown more. But when we're in it, it can be really challenging. Petra.
Okay. Well, just the fact that we survived so many challenges, and that, when we look back, we can see that we always have a choice to look at that as from a victim point of view, or to start looking at what did I learn, just like we did with the group yesterday. What good did any experience I had bring? and in what way it helped me be a better person today. And like Matt said beautifully, there is something so great coming after the darkest time of the night. Really, it is, and the life showed me so many times. And today I know that we just have to be patient and wait for life to bring us that, and that I learned to trust that there is always a reason why we are going through those challenging times, and that I'm learning something really huge, and that I'll be so grateful for it, which doesn't mean it's easy. So it's practice, it's daily practice for us as well, to keep on reminding ourselves to be grateful and to look for things, not material things, but for stuff that we can be grateful for. And then it just continues to flow. So it's practice. It's not something that, that it's just written and it is the way it is. We need to embody it. We need to start practicing and being grateful. And life showed me that I've been through so many hard times and traumas and stuff, that the hardest moments of my life were the best gifts of my life. And because of that, I know today that whatever I have to go through, there is a big reason that it will be so helpful for me in the future, whether for myself or for other people I'll be working with. So I feel grateful for even those times. And I still have moments where I break down and cry, like I just mentioned, but I allow myself that time. I cry for half an hour or whatever, whatever time I need, and then it shifts and I just continue moving on. And it's beautiful. But it took a lot of work to be where I am right now, to be able to say this. I can honestly say it wasn't easy. It was hard to practice gratitude, but it's so worth it.
There's so many things to say. I could write a whole course on this. Maybe I have. Um, I think that as you were talking there, Petra, it's like there's a couple things that come to mind, and one is with gratitude. You actually have to create a space for gratitude, I think, and the pace that we move in our lives doesn't allow for that so much, and so I believe for me that's one of the tenets of nurturing gratitude or gratefulness, is to have that space for myself through a morning meditation, a morning practice, building that relationship to how it feels to be at peace in myself. And then from that space, then I can open up into, wow, in this space, feel how the sun feels on my face as the sun's coming up and I'm sitting on my veranda meditating and the birds chirping, and then everything becomes beautiful, everything becomes peaceful and becomes a gift. And I think, if you look around at us, you see the guy driving to work next to you in the car, and he's pissed off because somebody's driving too slow, and then he's trying to text on his phone and about ready to crash, and can't get through because the signal's not there or whatnot, and just having a big fit about everything. But mate, you got a freaking state-of-the-art car that you're driving on a freeway that's paid for you. The road's right in front of you. You've got a technology here that you can call across the planet if you want to, and you've got so many amazing things right there in the palm of your hand, literally. And you're upset. It's like perspective is the next key, right? In that space, let's start to get a bit of perspective. We have so much in this world at our fingertips, more so than ever in humanity. And what do we have to be upset about, really? It wasn't 100, 200 years ago, and you'd be lucky to be sitting by a fire, right? And keeping warm. It's like, come on, guys. just get some perspective. So maybe set a perspective chime on your phone, this great technology, every hour to go off and say, hey, dickhead, look at all the great things you got in your life. And then pause and feel that. Watch your life transform.
Yeah. The key thing you just said though is feel that, right? And create the space to feel and like you said, Petra, know what's coming is going. Like you're going through it, and it's always at the other side. One thing. Oh.
And change of perspective is key, like Matt said. Really, we always have a choice how we're going to look at certain situations, past, present, or future. And just being aware and keep on reminding ourselves, okay, you're going wrong way right now. It's change your perspective and look for the good stuff. There must be something good. There's always something good. We just need to be willing to look. Because
I remember even in conversation, just to wrap this up and to touch on both things you said, is that when you're in those, if you have these points, I feel to really appreciate something, like to truly appreciate something, it's good to have really been without that something as well. Like to know both sides of the coin, to then, I think that's where it has in my life anyway. When I think of what I have in my life right now, it's been a long time without it. and now that it's here and I'm living it, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Like every day I remind myself, like there's not a day that doesn't go by now. But if I hadn't been starved of it for a long time as well and gone through those darker moments, then I don't know if I would have been as appreciative as I am right now because of it. So I'm also grateful for that. And hence why I do have space in my life and give myself space each day to be gratitude. So just to wrap the conversation up, guys, is there anything else you'd like to add on this conversation today before we...
something just popped in my head with the word gratitude.
Nothing is coming to me.
I just thought it was too stupid to share, but maybe I'll share it anyway. Within the word gratitude is the attitude. And I think that's what we've been talking about, is where is your attitude? And that can make all the difference. Do you have a positive attitude or do you have a negative attitude? And that creates the gratitude that changes things. So it's your attitude.
I can't believe you were going to share that one, mate. Right at the end.
I love this.
My inner critic was up, mate.
I reckon you've been sitting on that the whole conversation. Yeah. Just waiting for the time. Amazing, guys. Amazing. Wonderful to have you on the podcast. And please, if you've dropped into this, hit us up on Instagram. Live in Flow, or Guy Lawrence, or Almost Sound Journeys, or Petra Brozovic.
Is that right?
We will be there.
I've given up on the Welshman. I don't think.
I think so.
Well, I didn't think it'd ever get there.
We learned it.
I don't think I can pronounce it now.
It's right. Finally, it took him several years to learn.
Please let us know what you think of this episode, and we'll and even let us know different topics to discuss on the podcast in the future. We certainly enjoy coming together and doing them. And depending on when you're listening to this right now, we're recording this in the mid-June of 2021. But what have we got coming up? We're in Sydney next week, Matt, which is sold out, which is amazing. Sadly, Petra's in Croatia, so we can't quite get her there for that. But then we got July retreats, which are sold out as well in northern New South Wales, but we got a couple of spots left for our 5-night in August. Newcastle, we've just announced today, haven't we? A half-day workshop as well. So there's lots going on in person, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes.
And October 3-day,
which is amazing. So just come back to livingflow.co if you want to find out more and embody this work more, because it's we love it, that's for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
And learn how to be grateful.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon.